Hi everyone, my name's Annette, and today I have a special project. I am making a birthday card for my granddaughter Remy. Remy is turning 12 at the end of the month, which is the month of March, and today I'm going to make her birthday card. So I hope you stick around. Let's go make a card.
All right, so I pulled some supplies from my stash, and I really don't have a plan for this card. Well, I have kind of a loose plan, but it's just going to evolve as we go. I pulled some cupcake stickers that I found at my local dollar store, and I thought these would be fun. They're fun colors, and they have a little bit of glitter on them, so I definitely want to use those. And I also want to use this embossing folder. Whoops, this embossing folder that I'm going to run my card panel through, so these banners will get embossed onto the panel. And I really want to do that. So I'm going to use those, and I'll pull probably this happy birthday greeting. I'm thinking about embossing the greeting on a different color of cardstock paper just to have it stand out a little bit. So I want to do that too. That's my plan at least. And then when this is all done, we'll adhere it to a card mat to kind of help it pop, and then we'll put it on a card base. So let me set these things aside. And the first thing I think I want to do is I want to start with my card panel. And I always make a standard, well, not always, but most times I make a standard A2 top folding greeting card, which the finished card measures 4¼ by 5½. But the panel that I like to use is, the measurement is 3¼ inch by 5, and the mat layer is 4 inches by 5¼ and those measurements provide just a nice little border, a nice matte border around your panel. And then once that is put together, then that goes on the card base, and it just makes a nice finished product, which hopefully you stick to the end and we'll see it. So let's get started. I'm going to put this stuff aside for right now, and I'm going to bring out my Sizzix Big Shot machine, which is a die cutting and embossing machine. So these machines are all different, and they come with their own set of platforms and plates, and you just follow the instructions for your machine. I've watched a lot of videos, and a lot of them work well. So you just use what you have. I could definitely, this was the very first one that I bought for myself when I first started crafting about a year ago. Is it the best? I don't know, but it works for me. So I've learned not to go down a rabbit hole and try to buy all the latest and greatest, because it's a costly, it's an expense. So you really have to just pick and choose and decide what's best for you. But this works for me, so I'm going with it. So I followed the instructions for my sandwich. That's what these are called, these different layers. And I have some paper, extra paper in it to use as shims. And what I will do is open my embossing folder. And when you have an embossing folder, you always have a raised side and a depressed side. So this is the embossing side. This is the debossing side. So I want my banners to pop up on top of my card panel. So I want to run this through my machine where the raised side is on the bottom. So when it goes through the machine, it gets pressed up into the cardstock. So I hope that makes sense. When I was first starting, I had a hard time understanding that. And I just, would run my cardstock and run it through, and the raised side wouldn't be on the right side for me. So anyway, that's how you do it, and you just run it through and just crank it. And we set this aside. Well, let me get that out of the way. And then you are left with this beautiful embossed panel. And you can see, let me try to zoom in a little bit. You'll see that the banners on this top side are raised up. And if you flip it over, they are depressed. You can use either side, but for this project, I want the banners to be popped up. So this is what I'm going to do. So let me get this out of the way. And next, I'm going to try something a little different. I think I could ink these to have them pop out, but I kind of like the tone on tone. Let me try to zoom back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some Hero Arts Embossing and Watermark in clear, and I'm going to run it along the edges, and then I have this embossing powder in black sparkle, and it's from Ranger. And then what I'll do is powder the sides and then heat emboss them, and then it'll make a nice glittery border. So you'll see. Let's just try this. I really don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm just trying out something new here. So what I'm going to do is just rub this along the edge, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I want some of it to be on the front of the panel, so I'm just kind of angling my pad a little bit. And let me just try two sides for right now, and then actually I don't want to powder on this. Let me get a sheet of paper. Hold on. Okay, I'm just using a sheet of copy paper. I'm going to fold it in half first, and you'll see why I do that. That'll make sense in a second. And then I'm just going to dump some of this powder on the edge that I just inked, and then I'm going to just tap it off. All right, that's fine. And then I'm just going to funnel this embossing powder back into the container, and then let me put my ink cap on. I'm going to heat emboss this. I just have a heat embossing tool. I don't even know what brand this is. I just picked it up again when I first started crafting about a year ago. I probably got it at one of the big box craft stores because I really wasn't sure how this was going to go. But before I do this, I do see where some of the powder has spilled onto the banners, and I really don't want that. So I'm just going to take a paintbrush or a watercolor brush, and I'm just going to lightly go over that and just brush it away. And if you blow on it, it will go away. And again, I'm not aiming to make this a perfect edge, but I just really don't want the powder to emboss on the front. I just kind of want it to stay contained to the edges. So that looks good. So let me heat up my tool here. It may get noisy, I'm not sure. So let me just heat it up, and you want the heat tool to be hot, to be warmed up before you start embossing. So let me just do that. Okay. Okay, so let me zoom in again. I want you to see. So that just makes a nice sparkly edge, and I kind of want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the process for the other two sides. Let's get some ink on here. throw some powder on. Tap it off. Let's see. Couldn't find my brush. Let me get some of this off. Okay. And get some heat on it. Okay, I forgot to funnel this in, the leftover powder, so I was really trying to be careful not to blow the heat tool over it. So let me just get this out of the way. I am done with this for now. And I just want to wipe down my surface. I'm going to use this later, I think, for another color, so I just want to get that cleaned up. Okay, bring this back in here. All right, so what we have is this panel. Oh, I'm trying to zoom in my camera. I'm really having issues with this. I'll just bring this up. So hopefully you can see there's just a nice subtle glittery edge, and it should stand out really well when we put the card together. Okay, so next I think I want to maybe, let's see, I just want to kind of get an idea how I want to put these cupcakes on the panel. So I'm just going to pull these out. And, oh goodness, let's see, I think I do like this one, so I'm going to go with that. I like the one with the heart on the top. I also like the daisy. Let's do this. So we have a blue, let's just do a yellow as well. We'll do one with the candle. Okay, so I think I already kind of have an idea just by looking at these. I want the candle to go in the middle, and then I'll put one of these on each side. And I think I just want to maybe, I am going to use this. These are reverse tweezers, and these are kind of nice to have. Maybe just probably do them straight across, or even they have a little bit of adhesive on the back. That one. I might just have them hang over the edge also a little bit. Well, we'll see. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to set these aside because these are the ones I'm going to use. I'll set those away. While we are powdering and heat embossing, I think I'm going to make my birthday greeting. So let's get out the happy birthday greeting. Like I said, this is an old stamp set. I don't even know. I don't have the packaging, so I don't know who makes it, but you can really find these just about anywhere. And then I'm going to bring out my stamping platform. Grab this here. This is a mini Misty, and it's a nice stamping platform actually. And what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I want my greeting on a black background or a contrasting background. So I'm going to do one of each. So what I'm going to do is, these are just scraps. I think this is like a pink cardstock, printed cardstock with looks like raspberries maybe on it. I kind of like that. So I'm going to put that in my Misty, and in my mini Misty I have a I do want to point this out. This is a grit mat from Waffle Flower. Really like them. They come in different sizes, but I bought one small enough to fit in here. It's tacky, and it saves on taping things down or using the magnets. These come with a magnet. Oh, they're strong that you can hold your cardstock down, but I don't know. Sometimes I do use them, but I do like the grip mat. And then I'm just going to place my happy birthday and try to line it up as straight as I can. And sometimes I use a pick tool because the photopolymer stamps are sticky as well, and they can stick to your fingers. So that looks pretty straight. And I'm just going to pick it up with the door of my mini Misty. Press it down just to make sure it's there. Then, if you remember when I used the embossing powder earlier, it kind of stuck on the cardstock where I didn't want it. So to prevent that from happening, you can use this powder tool. I mean, it's a mess, but it does work. And you just powder up your cardstock. I just tap it and powder it. You can use cornstarch too, but these are very inexpensive at the craft stores or online. Okay, and then what I want to do is I'm going to stamp the greeting, and then I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp embossing powder in fine detail white, excuse me. So let's just see how that goes. So I just want to lightly tap the, again, I'm using the Hero Arts Embossing and Watermark ink in clear, and just tap that on. And I want to be careful not to press hard onto the door because it will smush the letters and you won't get a crisp edge. So really I just tap it down, and then I'll do it again, and I'll just maybe run my finger over lightly. I just want to make sure that the ink is evenly distributed. And before I open that, yes, the powder does make a mess, but it wipes right off. I am going to pull back my little paper catch, and I don't know if you can see that, but you can kind of see where the watermark and the embossing ink is, where it says happy birthday. So that is what we're going to drop the powder on, and it should adhere to the word happy birthday. And then we'll hit it with the heat tool. Just tap it off. I like to give it a good look. It looks like it could use a little more. Sometimes I'll just tap it on and let it sit for a second, and then tap it off. And that looks actually pretty good. So let's funnel this in. I don't want to forget to do that again, because that was a little challenging not to get the heat tool blowing all over that. We're going to do another one with a black background, but let me get this heat embossed first. Just going to heat up my tool again. They cool off pretty fast. And I hope you can hear me, but when I'm heat embossing sentiments, I like to come up from the bottom of the cardstock, because if you put too much heat on the embossing powder, it can bubble up. So you just want to make sure your heat tool is heated up and that you're moving it. Don't let it sit in one place for too long. So let's see here. You can see that turning white. That once it turns, move it up, move on. You don't want to stay there too long. Be careful with your fingers too, because this does get hot. And there, my friends, is a nice little happy birthday greeting, which we will die cut out. But before we do that, I want to make another one, because I'm not sure what color background I want to use. So I'm going to powder this up again. Ink up my stamp. Lightly tap it. I'm going to do it one more time. Okay. And hit it with some powder. All right, so this one, I didn't really do a very good job. But I'm going to get very, very tiny brush. I don't know if you can see that, but it is a tiny, tiny bristles because I want to get in these little area. And honestly, if you just touch the powder where you don't want it, it will remove it. So I just want to clean that up. I know this is probably overkill for a lot of you, but if I heat emboss it, it will just make a real sloppy line. Okay, that's good. It pays just to take a minute to make it right. It's not the end of the world, but it makes it look nicer in the end. And I'm going to put my powder and everything away because I am done with that. And my craft space is very, very small, so I need all the room I can get. And we are going to heat emboss this happy birthday. Okay, and there you have it. And then what you want to do next is you really want to let these cool off before you die cut them out. And once they cool off, you can take a cloth and wipe over these and the powder will come off and it'll be nice and clear. I went ahead and did some ahead of time because I want to show you how to die cut those out, but I just didn't want, it would just take too long to do this in real time. So I'm going to set these aside. I'll do that later and use these for another card project. Okay, wipe the powder off my hands. So these are the ones that I did earlier, and we're going to die cut these. So I actually am going to bring back out my Big Shot and get these little cupcakes here out of the way. I have this cute little shell I found over the weekend. It's really kind of neat. It was real inexpensive. It was at a home, it was at actually a nursery here in Columbus, Ohio. But it's a little abalone shell, but I thought it would be really, really cool just to hold little pieces. I'm actually going to turn these upside down because they already have adhesive on them from the manufacturer. Okay, let's get this guy out. And since I'm not using the embossing folder, I don't need my sandwich to be quite so, I just need to adjust my sandwich. So I always use the bottom platform and this plate. And then I also have, hang on. Ugh. I have a magic mat and mine is a hot mess right now, but you either love these or hate these. I love mine. It really saves from cutting into the plates. Now I have accidentally cut into the plate, but these plates will last a long time if you take care of them and use, you know, both sides. They will warp less. I've had this one for months and months and it's really not warping at all. But this mat takes the brunt of it. And what's really nice about it is it's you can scrub it. These little lines are actually where the cuts go in, and those are, I think those are paper. But when I scrub it and put my heat tool on it, it will flatten out and it mends itself. All this will go away. It's really, really cool. And I guess that's why they call it Magic Mat. But I love mine. It was not expensive at all, and it was worth every penny. Okay. Hang on one second. I am going to pull in, I actually have to wipe my hands because they're full of powder. Okay. I am going to pull in these die cuts that I have from Hero Arts. They're just, I just use them for sentiment strips. So I'm just going to find, I actually think this one is the right size, but they have a blade side and a smooth side. So you always want to cut into either your Magic Mat, or if you're using two plates, you want I do have 2 plates, but I'd only use one now because I use my magic mat. But if I were using 2 plates, I'd have 1 plate down and I'd have my second one on the top. But I always want to use 1 plate to cut into. That just lets your, or allows your plates to last longer. But that's neither here nor there because I'm using my magic mat. And then I'm going to pull in some mint tape, which I love. It's a low-tack tape and it does not rip your cardstock once you pull it out. So I'm just going to line this up. I'm just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to secure it down. And I'm going to run it through. It's really easy. And as you can see, this mint tape is just wonderful. I love it. Comes right off, and I just stick it on my die cutting machine. And there's a perfect little stamp or stamped image of the birthday, happy birthday. And that's going to go on the front of the card. I'm going to stick that in my little shell as well. Being careful not to stick it like I just did to the cupcake. And while I'm at it, I'm going to cut out the black happy birthday, because like I said, I'm not sure whether I'm going to use the black strip or the pink strip, but let's just put that there. And I just flipped it over. I just try to remember to flip it over and use both sides equally. There's rollers in these machines, and as it goes through, the pressure is what helps cut, but it also puts pressure on the plates, and if you keep using the plate in the same direction, naturally it will bow. So you just kind of want to keep flipping it back and forth. All right, that just popped out great, and there we go. Okay, come back to those later. All right, let me get these out of the way. Are you hanging with me? I hope so. This card's going to come together quickly now. All right. So I'm actually going to, I believe, I want to, instead of gluing this right onto the matte layer, and now that I used a darker color, I'm rethinking whether I want a different color for the matte layer. I think I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I keep my this little bin here. This is just my little way of organizing. Sometimes when I don't feel like making a card or I just don't have any ideas, I'll just start cutting paper. I'll cut panels, I'll cut mats. And when I first started, I honestly could not remember, okay, what size is a panel? What size is a mat? So I made these little dividers and I just wrote a little cheat sheet for me. So I'm going to go to my mat section and see, my cardstock is white. So I'm just going to pull out what I have, and I'm going to see what might look good on a white background. So this is the white, basically the white cardstock I'm using. And I really like, I think the teal really looks, that might even help it pop. That's a possibility. Oh, there's a darker one too. Nope, I want lighter. I want lighter. This is where you just go down a road and you're like, well, what I thought I was going to do really isn't going to work now. And so you just start digging. You just start digging. Oh, look what I found. Interesting. I must have cut this raspberry paper in a mat. I think that's a mat. Nope, it's a panel. It's in the wrong area. I got these all in the wrong area. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go get some cardstock and I will cut a new panel out. Hold on. Okay, so I actually was digging through my cardstock and I found this piece of cardstock that's textured and it's actually has some sparkle to it, some shine. And it's from American Crafts. So I brought out my Tim Holtz Tonic Studios Guillotine paper trimmer. I have tried other paper trimmers and I have another one that was my first one, but it would make the edges, they weren't clean cut, let's just say. And I always had to clean them up and use a file on them. And I reached out to actually Kathy Zilski, who is a wonderful artist who I follow her channel. And she's actually the first one that I saw do a heat embossing technique that really got me into this crafting world. I thought that was really cool. And I thought, gosh, I really want to do that. And so she's just been wonderful with sharing her tips and techniques and even answering questions. She puts out her email if you have any questions, and I've definitely reached out to her a few times, and one of the times was when I was having trouble with my paper trimmer, my old paper trimmer, and she recommended this one. She's not affiliated with it in any way, but she recommended this one, and I actually was considering it, but I just didn't know, because it is somewhat of an investment, and or at least for me it is. And so she said she had hers, I think, at the time for 4 years. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't regret that decision once. This is amazing. Like it's just, it makes amazing cuts. So I'm going to make the matte layer, and I said before they are 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to line this up with the 4-inch mark, and I always make sure it's lined up all the way, because sometimes you know your paper might be on an angle, so just make sure it's lined up all the way. And it is. And then you just hold this down and cut. And while I'm here, I'm just going to do, I'll be darned, I had two pieces. I thought it felt thicker. Gosh, now did I? Okay, yeah, that was good. Sometimes if you have 2 pieces, it shifts. Let's just do one at a time. Just do it again. So just line it up. I'm glad I discovered that, because I thought, wow, this is going to make a really thick card, but now it's feeling really good. Okay, so 4 inches, and then I'm not going to cut all these now, but and then 5 1/4. So here's the 5 1/4 mark, and I'll just do this one so I know that it is completed. And I always save my scraps. There's plenty of projects to do with scrap pieces. So I have little envelopes, well, not little envelopes, large envelopes, 12 by 12, that I just put my paper scraps in. And there's, go search YouTube. There's lots of projects for paper scrap cards. And they are beautiful. So, okay, so now I have my matte layer, my panel layer. Good. Now my edge sticks out just a little bit more, or stands out. And so I'm going to pop this up onto here. Because it's embossed, it might, there's like dips in it. It's kind of hard to glue that. So I have this roll of foam tape. It's, I think it's called Big Mama foam tape. Actually, no, this one is not. I don't know the brand, but I got it at my local store. And I just cut, sometimes I'll cut sizes that fit the back of the panel and just stick it on here, just so they're ready to go. So that's what I did. So I'm just going to put one on each end. My goodness. Uh-oh. I need my pick tool to get this thing going. Here we go. It's sticky. And, oh, goodness. Okay. Sometimes your card projects fight you. You just gotta fight back. You just gotta fight back. You'll win. Just take your time. And we'll put one in the middle. Okay, get rid of that. And I'm going to use my pick tool to release the backers. Release the hounds. Okay. This foam tape is very sticky, so but that's what you want. And then I just eyeball it. I just take my time and I line up. What I focus my eyes on is the top and one of the sides. And if I have an even edge on those, the rest usually looks fine. And you know, these are handmade cards. No one is going to receive your card and measure and make sure it's absolutely perfect. And if they do, that's fine. But just know it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to do that. Just do it the best you can. So there's that. So now all we have left is placement of, I'm going to pull this in, placement of our cupcakes and our birthday greeting. And now this is where I want to decide which color I should go with. Use my reverse tweezer again. I kind of like the pink, but the black kind of matches that. But I'm not a matchy-matchy type of person, so you know, that's just me. So I'm taking some liquid glue. This is Gina K Connect glue. I love it, and I bought a little squeeze bottle with a fine metal tip, and this works really well with putting glue down. So even though these cupcakes come from the manufacturer with a foam backer, adhesive foam backer, I like to put a little glue on it, and this gives me some wiggle room to get it right where I want it. And then this is where I do try to make it even, but I have a little T-square from Simon Says Stamp. I love this little tool. It's 6 inches long, so it's just perfect for the cards, just to make sure you're lining up things straight. Sometimes I can eyeball it, but when it's a finer detail item, I like to just pull this out. Keeps me honest. So, you know, you can place it wherever you want, but I kind of want these cupcakes to land in the middle-ish. So, you know, I'm just going to put that right there, and I will just eyeball the middle and get that down. Okay. And then these other two, I was thinking about maybe putting them just to extend over the edge a little bit, but I think there's going to be room. Boy. There's going to be room to keep them within. And this one has a little bit of extra paper. I don't like that. So I'm just going to take a little pair of scissors and trim that away. Okay. All right. Same thing. I'm going to put some glue back here. And I'm going to make sure this is right up against that, and I'm going to just keep it in bounds with the panel. We'll just do that. And the last one, I think I want to come in from over here this time. These cupcakes are so cute. Let's get you out of the way. Don't need you anymore. And we'll put you right to the other edge. Okay. I love it. All right, this card's almost done. Thanks for hanging with me. I wish I was live so I could see comments and see which color you prefer. Oh boy. I think I like the black. Oh boy. I think I'm going to go with most of me says to go with this one, but I'm just going to be different and go with this. So I'm actually going to bring out my die cutting machine because I want to build this up a little bit, and instead of putting it up on foam, I'm going to just do one little extra. It's all good. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. And I'm actually going to show you my pouches. Let me see here. Let me show you my pouches. Or actually, I have something else I want to show you that's really cool. I'm just going to do one more. Okay, and then I'm just going to let that sit for just a second to adhere. I have this cute little, this is made out of stone. It's just an owl. I got it at a, actually just at a home, that same nursery I bought this abalone shell dish. This was just a cute little concrete or stone owl, and I just put a piece of felt on the bottom of it because I use this as a pressure tool for my Misty. I'll show you that in another video, but I mean, this is just decorative, and it probably was meant to be just a decoration to put on a shelf or maybe a paperweight, but it has some good weight to it. All right. So I'm going to grab this and bring my card panel back in, put a little glue. Okay. And I'm not going to bring my T-square out, but I'm just going to see where I want to line this up. I think I'm going to put it right underneath and kind of centered. It's just a sweet little card. I mean, there's so much more we could do. We could ink the background, but I just kind of wanted it to be clean and simple. But I like how that turned out. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my card base, and card bases are basically just a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. You cut it in half on the long side at 4 1/4, and then you get 2 pieces. And then you score it. You turn it over and score it at 5 1/2 because that's halfway between 11. And then you have 2 card bases. So I do these ahead of time. Again, let me pull this out and show you. Again, when I don't have, when my craft mojo isn't going, I just cut paper. So I just cut a bunch of panels up. And I have a logo stamp, and I'll just stamp that on the backs of them just to get them ready. It just makes, when I do make cards, it just makes that process go even faster. Okay, so you take your card base, you score it at 5, you know, it's 4 1/4 by 11. You score it at 5 1/2. Whoop, fold it over. And then I take a bone folder, a Teflon bone folder, and just burnish that folded edge just to help it lie flat. And then you can either pop up with foam tape the whole card front, or you can just glue it. I'm just going to glue it because I already popped up the panel. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue. I'm going to be generous because, you know, you want this to last over time. Hopefully some people will keep your cards, some people will throw them away. It really doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. All that matters is that you took the time, you thought about somebody, you made them a card, and it's good. It's all good. And that's my finished birthday card. Gosh, I really like the way it came out. We did a little embossing with an embossing folder. We did heat embossing. We popped up the panel. We did some ephemera, and we did some die cutting. This card has a lot going on. Actually, I think I want to do one more thing. Hold on. I'm going to bring my trusty Misty back out here. Hold on. Here we go. I still have the happy birthday in there as I haven't cleaned it yet. But I'm going to put it down here just so I don't lose it. I think what I'm going to do is, if I can I do that? I think I can, yeah. So I'm gonna pop my card right in the bottom right corner, and I have a very old stamp set from Spellbinders called 4-Petal Sweet Day Flowers, and it just has a nice, you know, it has a little sentiment. You are so kind. There's one that says with sympathy. I know that's hard to read. So happy for you. Happy birthday. We already have happy birthday on the front, but I like this stamp that says, "Have a sweet day." Since we have sweets on the front, I thought this will be kind of fun. I'm going to stamp that in the inside. Let's get that as straight as possible. That looks good. And we'll pick it up with the door of the Misty. And again, this stamp is very fine. The font is fine, so I don't want to press really hard. So I'll just be mindful of that. But I'm going to ink it with VersaFine Pigment Ink for fine detail. I love this ink. I use it a lot. I use it for pretty much anything. Anything I want to ink in black. And so I'm just going to lightly tap that sentiment. And just make sure you don't have ink on your hands, because I've done that before and I touched my card and that was it. Got black ink in there. So I'm just going to make sure that that's in the corner, and I'm going to close the door and just gently apply even pressure. If you don't have a tool, you can use the palm of your hand or just your fingers. You just want to be very light, because you can always stamp it again, because by positioning your cardstock, it's going to be in the same spot when you position it in the corner there. So no worries, and then just bring it down again. And that's it. Have a sweet day. All right, well, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to take pictures of this card and put it on my website, which is ascarddesign.com. I will also put it on my Instagram and in my Facebook channel. So there you go, a birthday card for Remy. Happy birthday, Remy. I love you.